It was the middle of the night when Russian bombs fell on the sleeping residents of this settlement in Dobropol, in eastern Ukraine. Putin's criminals targeted defenseless families. They just killed ordinary people here. My neighbor was killed. Along with her, 10 other people, 30 including 5 children, have been injured. The building is completely burned down, and the people in them. We are documenting this crime. And as if this wasn't enough for the Russian barbarians, they once again hit a fire truck with a drone during the rescue operation. President Donald Trump will no longer tolerate Russian aggression. Moscow got a serious warning and advice to take things seriously. Based on the fact that Russia is absolutely pounding Ukraine on the battlefield right now, I am strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs on Russia until a ceasefire and final settlement agreement on peace is reached. The Kremlin responds that it will not be intimidated, though the language of force is one that Putin understands well. We have very many gestures encouraging Russia to sit down at the negotiating table, but we also have here the threat of imposing further sanctions on Russia. Trump certainly wants to end this war as soon as possible, and this is also what the American people, the American public today expect. Ukraine and Russia are to sit down at the negotiating table immediately. The new U.S. administration's plan calls for a ceasefire and negotiating the terms of a lasting peace. Without America, this is impossible because European leaders, despite many meetings, declarations, and ideas, are unable to achieve anything concrete. And certainly not a Ukrainian-Russian ceasefire, as President Andrzej Duda encouraged in an interview with Fox News TV. The whole history so far, the last 3 years of the war, shows that without American support, Ukraine will not survive. Therefore, there is no doubt that American support for Ukraine has a crucial dimension. If Ukraine is to survive, Volodymyr Zelensky must return to the negotiating table. Next week in Saudi Arabia, the second round of talks between the American and Ukrainian delegations. After the failure of the Oval Office talks, Kyiv this time seeks an agreement with Washington. We are working very intensively with President Trump's team. We have a clear goal: peace and security as soon as possible. Ukraine wants to be a constructive partner. The ceasefire in Ukraine is part of Donald Trump's larger plan for Europe. The American leader is considering withdrawing up to 35,000 U.S. Army troops from Germany. Trump would like to withdraw at least some of the troops from Germany because this country ignored his expectations the most in his first term. This country has become such an example of resistance to Donald Trump's policies. The issue is whether some of these soldiers should not be redeployed to Poland if this agreement between Ukraine and Russia is implemented. American soldiers could end up in our country and Hungary. As the British Daily Telegraph points out, only countries that are serious about defense spending are being considered, and Poland is one of those countries, since the rule of law and justice. Trump is considering changing the deployment of some U.S. troops in Europe so that they are concentrated around NATO countries that have increased their defense spending. Donald Trump was already planning to redeploy a significant portion of troops from Germany to Poland during his first term in office. Maybe now it will be possible if the December 13th ruling coalition, for which Berlin's opinion will probably take priority, does not get in the way.